Hello, everyone, and welcome to Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com, the number one Superman fan site in the world. In this, our June 30th, 2025 show, we're supposed to be interviewing Jermaine McLaughlin, in regards to Superman, the official cookbook. We're waiting for Jermaine to join us on this feed, and we will chat to him about the official cookbook. But in the meantime, let me introduce you to my co-host, Michael Bailey. Hello, Michael.
Hey, Steve, how's it going?
Doing well.
Excuse me.
And Mark Lax. Hey, Mark.
Gentlemen, how are you?
Doing well. Doing very well. So much happening in the world of Superman at the moment. We will hopefully get our interview with Jermaine in tonight. We had it scheduled for a couple of weeks ago. Things happened, didn't work out, but we've just waiting for him to kind of get onto the feed. But while we're waiting, we can jump into the rest of what we've got to talk about tonight, because it is a busy time in the world of Superman. But as always, we've got a little bit of housekeeping to do. We want to thank our sponsors and patrons. We've got our Superman champions. Thank you so much to Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, Tina Murray, Rick Schutzow, and Jamie Klingensmith. Thank you so much for your financial support of this show and for keeping this material free for everyone. We really appreciate your help in keeping this show going. And if you'd like to join those folks and be a supporter of Superman Homepage Live, then all you have to do is go to patreon.com/Superman Homepage, where there are different levels of membership with different levels of perks, and you can support the show that way. You can have your name read out on the credits as before and after the end of these shows, or you can do other levels where there is like the tip jar, there's buying us a coffee, that kind of stuff. So get involved however you can. We won't have time for live callers tonight, but I am thinking, I'm toying with the idea of doing a members-only Q&A type of show where you get to speak one-on-one with me, you get to come on camera. It's only for members, paid members. We'll see how we go once the film has been released, because at the moment, I am, like I was just saying to these guys off camera, like a chicken with its head cut off at the moment, just running around like crazy trying to get things organised. On one side of things, guys, I'm a little bit disappointed that we didn't get invited to get to the world premiere in LA. But on the other hand, because it's all hands on deck at the moment, it's like can't spend 13 hours on a flight getting over there and not being able to be on the front here, being able to report on everything. So yeah, crazy times, but there's always it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like a serious first world problem when you really think about it. I mean, it's disappointing because you've been at this for over 30 years at this point, or so. I think you took over what, 96?
96, so just short of 30 years
96?
at the moment.
So yeah, but that's like almost 3 decades. And Mark's been part of the homepage for a number of years, and so have I, and I've done podcasting and stuff, and it never seems to like garner any kind of attention
No.
outside of a few scraps here and there. But on the other hand, we still get to come out and do this every week.
Yep.
The Superman homepage is still considered to be the authoritative website for Superman. It's just such a different world in terms of influencers. I think you being in Australia doesn't help the situation either.
Yes, it's very true. So yeah, it is what it is. But like I said, there's always some positives behind there's a silver lining to every cloud. All right, well, let's get into the topics that we have to discuss while we're waiting to see if Jermaine McLaughlin, I keep saying McLaughlin joins us for our chat with him about the Superman official cookbook. But while we're waiting, heaps has happened in the world of Superman this past week. Sorry to people who were looking to join us on Instagram. The go live button is just not going live for me. So no Instagram tonight, but we are across Facebook and YouTube tonight. So if you are on either of those platforms and you want to have something to say, ask a question, post your comment. Have a chat with fellow fans who are watching. We'll keep an eye on that feed, react to any questions you might have and answer them as we go along. So thank you so much for being part of tonight's show. We really appreciate your company. and love having you with us as we go through the next hour of tonight's program. All right, don't forget to give us a thumbs up or a like right now so that the YouTube and Facebook algorithm knows that fans are watching and doing watching live and liking the show, so alert to other people on their feeds. All right, let's get into some of tonight's topics while we're waiting to see if Jermaine will join us. And obviously on the movie front, there's been a lot happening. While we were doing last week's show, the world tour for the Superman movie was in Rio de Janeiro, and there were plenty of videos and things that were posted from their time in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. The cast was doing interviews left, right, and center. There was a giant S made up of all the different people there in attendance. So there was a lot happening there in Rio de Janeiro, and it looks like everyone who was there had a great time.
Yeah, the sheer amount of interviews and such coming from this press tour has been amazing. Like, I don't think we've ever seen anything like this in previous Superman films.
No, I would agree. Yeah, I mean, there was even a little kid whose name was Kal-El who was brought up on stage to have a photo and video with the David Corenswet and Rachel Brosnahan and James Gunn. So a lot of fun there, Mark. Looks like everyone really got into it.
Oh yeah, and it's got to be totally exhausting for them. They're just going from country to country and city to city, and they're out there, and people seem to be coming in droves to see them and celebrate Superman and all that. So it's just so exciting to see all of this.
Yeah, for sure. Now there've been promos and TV spots and teasers and what have you going out there. I've seen a couple on TV here in Australia while watching free-to-air television, and I saw a new promo. My wife did in the shops today for Chat Time, which is like a bubble tea place, which I'll report on soon enough. But like I said, so much happening, I just can't keep up. But there was this Buckle Up promo that was released this past week.
He's gonna hurt people. We have to stop him.
Ready?
Let's do it.
Left to left.
Crypto!
You have a dog. You think this is going well?
I think I'm doing a good job.
Rated PG-13. In theaters everywhere July 11th.
So there you have it. Like I said, little bits of snippets of new footage that we have not seen before, but all in all, it's been great to see some new promos and things. I had someone the other day saying, "Stop posting spoilers," and I'm like, "I'm not posting spoilers. I'm reporting on officially released promotional material."
Yeah, if you want to talk about spoilers, let's talk about like dropping something. It's kind of minor, but there was a question that one of the reporters asked, and I'm not saying it specifically because I'm trying to not spoil this, but they're talking about a plot point in the film, and I'm like, oh, so you just gave that away? Like, it reminded me of
talking about something about with your.
Yes, I am talking about something about the glasses, and I just want you all to know that I've been secretly hypnotizing you this entire time that we've been doing the live show. No, it reminds me of back when Superman Returns came out, and it was right before the film hit theaters, and Kevin Spacey was on the Larry King show, and Larry King's just like, so at the end of the film, you're just stuck on that island, and I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah,
the film's not even out yet. Like. Well, now I know Lex Luthor ends up stuck on an island, which is stupid on a number of levels, but still, it's just like, come on.
I know. Yeah, it is. It's hard.
I got to go back to Batman v Superman. My father used to watch in the morning all the, ESPN and all the big sports shows and all that. And one of the guys on it, I guess his daughter saw it on. It was a Friday, and she saw it on Thursday night. And he goes, oh, yeah, she saw the movie Superman Dies. He goes, oh, or does he? And I'm like, are you totally kidding me? Did you say that Superman died and Batman? You actually said that? And my father said nothing to me because he knew I was going to see the movie. And when I came home, he goes, "Did somebody die?" And I said, "Yeah, Superman died." And then he told me because I didn't see it,
Right.
but he told me when I'm like, "I are you how much of an idiot can you be
Yeah, that'd be
to
like
say
giving
something
away
like
in like
that?" You know,
in the movie The Sixth Sense, like giving away the
yeah,
the
he's
fact
dead
that
all along.
he's
Did you
dead
know that
along.
Bruce Willis was dead the entire time?
Oh
So
wow!
bad. Yeah, and it
By
must
the
be
way,
hard.
Kevin Spacey was Kaiser Sose.
Yeah, it must be so hard for the
Rosebud was a sled, but okay, if that's it. Is it too soon? Too soon?
Michael nearly fell off
Okay,
his
okay,
chair.
okay.
But
I really did. That was funny.
that was good. It must be hard for the cast and crew who have probably seen the film a couple of times now, not to know what has and hasn't been spoken about. So, they've been living this for a couple of years now. So it must be hard for them not to know what is and isn't out there as far as the promotional material is concerned. And there's people who have seen the movie, and there's people who have been part of press junkets, what have you, who have seen the movie. So, yeah, it's pretty hard to know what is a spoiler and what isn't. But a plot point that is a major part of the story would be a spoiler. So,
Yes.
anyway, we move on. Okay, where are we at? That was Buckle Up. James Gunn posted this image of a close-up of Ultraman, which is not the Ultraman that we've been seeing in the clips and in the footage and promo images. It's a very roughed up kind of, I don't know. It's not a streamlined costume as what we've seen, which leads me to wonder what the hell is going on. Who is this person?
I think this is after their fight.
Could be.
Because we see, I mean, Superman's throwing him into the ground. So again, I think that image specifically is going to be in the post. I've been banging on about this, and I'm still going to do it. And even if I'm wrong, I'm going to say I was right because apparently you can do that now, and it'd be okay. But this is the close up in the post credit sequence where they take the mask off. It's David Corn's sweat, and his skin turns white because he's Bizarro. That's just, that's just my theory.
That's your theory. We'll see if it's proven true.
Somebody suggested that he would be Apollo from The Authority, who is a very Superman-like character, and I'm wondering if that would be the case because when this film was announced, they're like, The Authority is going to be in it, and we have heard nothing about The Authority since filming began. So I'm wondering if that, and they said one of the films that they had greenlit was canceled because they didn't have the script ready. So I'm wondering if like the Authority angle is really going to be kind of dropped from the film, or if it's just going to be not as much of a thing as it once was.
Interesting. Yeah, Mark.
I would be disappointed if that was the case. I think because I only know so much about the authority and all that, and I would be kind of disappointed because I'm not as into those characters as other people. I'm sure there'd be a lot of people that would be very excited about it, but.
Yeah, we'll wait and see just what is the case right there. Another image that James Gunn shot, took a photo directly from the screen of doing shoots, was this one, which is a photo of Stephen Blakeheart as Sidney Happerson. Sidney Happerson is a deep cut into the comic books.
That is a deep cut.
Yeah, he made his first appearance in Superman #2 from 1987. Has been a recurring character in the Superman comics for a couple of decades now, but he's a top scientist and assistant to Lex Luthor, and he specializes in clone technology.
See?
Huh?
This is what I'm saying. I'm just no. It's funny because for most of the production of this film, I have been under the assumption that it was going to be a very Silver Agey type of story.
Yeah.
It's going to be very all-star Superman. There are so many post-crisis stuff in here that I'm getting, like, it's going to be as much post-crisis Superman as it is Silver Age. Like, it's going to be an amalgam of the two because the characters he keeps bringing in. Like, when I saw that picture, I'm like, oh my God, it's like they took it right off the page and put it on the screen. And it's one of those things where it's just like, I really want to, at some point, get a random collection of Superman fans into a room and just say names of things from certain eras and just see who reacts. So it's like there were some people who was like, who the hell is Sidney Happerson? And then there's people like me that's like, yes!
Yeah.
But John Patrick Van Pelt says, has he been in any TV shows or movies that we know of? I don't think so.
I don't think Happerson has. Vecco has.
Yeah.
And Vecco is a deep cut. That's a deep Silver
Yeah.
Age cut. In fact, I think Michael McKean played him on Lois and Clark in the Batman episode in the first season. But yeah, I don't think Happerson. Maybe Superman and Lois. Like, if I'm forgetting Superman and Lois, I'm gonna receive a very angry message from somebody. But yeah, he hasn't really made it into a lot of the expanded media.
I mean, to be fair, Lex Luthor's had quite a few different henchmen and assistants and things in both the comics, TV shows, movies over the years. So there's like quite a list of ones that you could have gone with.
To answer Wonder's question, no, he wasn't in those films. You're thinking of Dabney Donovan.
Yeah, Dabney Donovan
was the science guy in those. But I don't think Happerson was. And I just recently watched Reign of the Superman again, so I don't remember seeing him.
No. All right, so yeah, it's a bit of a deep cut there. All right, so there have been plenty of, as I said, behind-the-scenes stuff happening, interviews, what have you. E.T. Online posted a behind-the-scenes video on the making of the movie. Let's watch a little bit of that here.
I thought we might do an interview. I could fill you in on all the behind the scenes. There's gonna be some banging action.
Hey, buddy, eyes up here.
David packed on 40 pounds of muscle for the film that shot everywhere from Ohio to Norway. Nicholas Hoult is Lex Luthor, Nathan Fillion's Green Lantern, and Rachel Brosnahan is Lois Lane.
I can't believe we're here embodying these iconic characters.
So this guy just flew in.
So yeah, there's 30 seconds of that. You can watch the full minute and a half on our website if you're interested in watching that behind-the-scenes video, which shows some of the stuff that we haven't seen before, but from behind the camera, if you know what I mean. So that's available for you to watch as well. And this past weekend, they took a break on their world tour, and they had a whole press junket take place over the weekend there in Los Angeles, where media from all around the world, except Australia, meaning me, were invited to attend this press junket where they got to sit down with cast interviews and director interviews, got to tour this massive set that they built, or these 4 levels of Daily Planet, Fortress of Solitude, what have you, that people could immerse themselves in and conduct these interviews in and what have you. And there were so many published already, and there's so I'm guessing more that will be published. But on our website, we've tried to collect over a couple of pages the different interviews that have been published. CBS Sunday Morning, there was Jay Towers, who obviously is part of the Cape Wonder and podcast, but obviously is a reporter in his own right on network there in the US. Sin Express did an interview. Manly Things sort of podcast has a thing there about dressing David Corenswet for it. The Treco Press conference in Rio de Janeiro has also been published. So there's lots of videos and interviews that you can watch on our website. And then even more today were published. There was Geek Culture did one. Today Show did one. USA Today has a video up there. Collider did an interview, a couple of interviews. Extra TV did a couple of interviews. Blavity TV, and many, many more. So they're all up on our website if you want to check those out. Some of them have behind the scenes or new clips that have not been seen before. There was, I'm going to show you this one from Jay Towers talking to David Corenswet about being one of the, whatever, was it 12 or 11 actors or something like that who have now played Superman.
David, there have been 12 astronauts that have been on the moon. You are, if you include Nicolas Cage in The Flash, you are the 12th live-action Superman.
Wow.
That said, what's that responsibility feel like?
I like that you said that, because when people ask what it was like to get the part, to get the call from James, I said it felt like, I imagine it feels like for an astronaut to be told that they're going to be sent to the moon. So I'm really happy that you did that math and figured that out, because I hadn't. That's
He's going to steal that now for every interview.
Yeah, I'm going to take that forward.
So there he is talking about, that legacy of playing Superman and, how, the honor of taking on that role. And I liked how Jay kind of likened it to the astronauts that have been on the moon.
Yeah, the CBS Sunday morning one is probably one of the best that I watched. For a number of reasons. It was a little more immersive into talking to like James Gunn and David Corenswet. Corenswet really goes into the things, but the thing I kept thinking about is the interviewer is one of the legends in movie commentaries and such, TCM, Ben Mankiewicz, who is, by the way, the cousin to Tom Mankiewicz of Superman the movie. So it felt like it was being kept in the family with that one. So
yeah, nice. And people in the comments, Mark, are talking about there was an interview where they spoke about the costume, and David Corenswet saying that they intentionally didn't want it to be tight-fitting, form-fitting, sheeny muscle. It was all about him being a big farm boy, and that they wanted him to be imposing without being, muscular in that kind of, Man of Steel type of costume where it's, all about the definition of the suit.
Yeah, he talked about. I think he talked about the trunks, how they,
spoke about that as well.
In a way, he was saying something in a way, not that it was supposed to look silly, but it was supposed to be like, hey, this is who I am, and it has nothing to do with the fact that I wear all these colors and all that. It's what what I stand for, and what I do, and it was just funny because he discusses it. I mean, it is kind of like, my mom made it for me. I don't know if that may not be the case here, but it was that kind of take on my mom made it. This is how it looks, and
yeah.
It's interesting because all the discussion about the trunks and James Gunn saying he didn't know if he wanted to do the trunks, that he talked to Zack Snyder about it, and Corenswet's like, to his mind, the trunks are disarming and they make Superman more approachable. Like, if he's kind of silly looking, even though I don't think they're silly looking, but that's a separate discussion. But it's interesting. There is a lot about this movie and the commentary surrounding it, and the movie itself, I think, is going to end up being this, where it's going to cover a lot of the same ground that Man of Steel did. And you're going to have two directors who both didn't really have an affinity for Superman before making the film. I think it's pretty obvious that Zack Snyder was more of a Batman guy. But it's interesting at the same time that Gunn seems to be embracing all of the things that Zack Snyder discarded. Like, his journey with it was, no, we got to embrace this stuff, even though I don't believe in it. Like, he didn't buy the glasses, he didn't like the trunks, and yet they're both in the film. So one, that's possible, and two, I think it's just going to end up. Is the final analysis going to be that even if you don't necessarily come into it liking the character, can you still do a proper version of the character? And now everyone's going to flood in about what the proper version is, et cetera, et cetera. I just think it's fascinating listening to him talk, because he's saying a lot of the same things that, like, or similar things to what Zack Snyder said, but I'm not getting the same vibes of, oh, this doesn't bode well.
Yeah, no, exactly. This is the video clip that I was talking about from David Corenswet.
The first time, I hadn't thought about this before. You hear actors who play superheroes talking about squeezing into the suits. I got kind of claustrophobic in the suit the first time, just like being constricted in all those places at the same time. The fact that it takes a few minutes to get out of it, sort of, there's no like quick release. It was an intense experience, and not this amazing, glorious, becoming the character moment. It was in pieces. So
there's just a bit of that interview from people, but if you want to see more of it, you can see it on our website as well. All right, there is more to get through. There was a promo with Lois Lane talking about taking the lead that you can check out on our website. There were clips from the Kelly Clarkson show and Jimmy Kimmel Live that were shown, if you're interested in seeing those. They're on our website. Toonami unveiled a sneak peek at the upcoming Superman movie. Again, that's up on our website if you want to check that out. I don't want to play them here for you guys unless you actually want to see them. So, I know people are getting irate with spoilers and things like that. So, again, I just point the website as somewhere that you can go. But the next stop for the Superman World Tour is the UK. They're going to London, and they will, James Gunn revealed these murals that are around different streets in the UK, in Ireland, where you can take a photo, obviously do selfies, all these different great poses that you can do. There are a number of them. There's one in Manchester, there's one in Birmingham, there's Cardiff, Glasgow, there's Dublin. All these places are locations where you can take a photo with these great wall murals that have been erected and put up around the cities. So if you're in those areas, we'd love to see some of your photos. But then, as I said, the world tour for the new Superman movie hits London very, very soon. And there is a Daily Planet kiosk around about London where you can collect a physical copy of the Daily Planet. There's one in Shard Piazza, King's Cross Station, Waterloo Station, Liverpool Street Station. The dates for those are on our website. So again, check out supermanhomepage.com for all the details on that. And there was a video on the Justice Gang introducing all those guys as well. So like I said, plenty of new material for the Superman movie that we can touch base on. There was a Toyota promo that Rachel Brosnahan has done with the new all-electric 2026 Toyota BZ car that will be featured as Lois Lane's car in the movie. So there's a promo video and photos for that. Times Square is now the location for a massive billboard display of the upcoming Superman movie posters. So if you're in Times Square, take photos of yourself with that as a background. There were ensemble. I love this poster that they released. We'll get to show some of those. Take the wall mural off. So this was a Chinese ensemble poster, and there's a textless version of it if you want it without the writing on it. There's this poster from Cinity, LED with the Fortress of Solitude. Again, there's a textless version of that. So plenty of great stuff out there for the upcoming Superman movie that you can check out on supermanhomepage.com. But I am happy to announce that our special guest for tonight, Jermaine McLaughlin, is with us now to talk about Superman, the official cookbook. Let me bring him in now. Switch over to our different here. I'm going to assign him as guest number 3 on the... Welcome, Jermaine.
Pleasure to meet you.
Thank you so much for tonight. Doing well. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Really appreciate you spending time with us here on Superman Homepage Live to talk about Superman, the official cookbook.
Yep, it's an actual physical thing, finally. It's good to have one in hand.
Yeah, exactly. Now, can you just tell us a little bit about your background, who you are, fill fans in on exactly who Jermaine is?
Okay. I have been a DC and comics in general fan since before rather little after I could walk. My first memory of a comic book is a 25-cent copy of a Justice League 200, the George Perez jam cover where all the Leaguers were fighting the other Leaguers. So I've been hooked ever since. Somehow, all of that led to me getting an internship at DC Comics in 1997, which became a full-time job in 1999, which I then stayed with for 16 years after that. Once DC decided to make the move to California, I decided to try my hand at dabbling with a little writing, just because I've loved this stuff so much for so long, and it has led me to many an interesting place, and the most interesting and most recent place would be this cookbook.
Wow. So what inspired you to create a Superman cookbook told from Martha Kent's perspective? I mean, how did you decide on this unique narrative approach?
I am going to pass the credit and the buck on to my editor, who did an amazing job of trying to sell me on this, because she sold me on the Martha Kent end of this thing, and I tried to sell her on every conceivable POV character other than Ma Kent, because, you know, me and a loving elderly mother from the Midwest have so much in common. But she was determined, and she was also determined to go with the whole Americana feel of this cover, which would spill out into this book. And once I got rolling with it, it really made so much more sense. This book is essentially a love letter from Martha to Clark and John and the rest of the extended super family, just spelling out how important he is to not just her life, but, you know, the world's life. So it's illustrated by like recipes from Smallville, which graduate to recipes from Metropolis, which graduate to recipes from his friends in the Justice League. I had a lot of fun with that one, which graduated to recipes from Krypton, finagling recipes from the Phantom, from Krypton, with their earthly equivalent, put it that way. So once she got me on board with what the voice was and what we were actually trying to do, just in terms of something Clark can pass on, something she can pass on to Clark and he can pass on to John and Kara and Connor, etc., it all came together.
So, how did you collaborate with recipe developer Elena Craig to ensure the narrative and the recipes worked seamlessly together? What was that partnership like?
Oh, that was fun. That was essentially an editor. Shout out to Lex Sattler, and a chef who knew like the bare bones of Superman. So I just gave him a crash course. I told him, get the DC Unlimited app. I'm going to direct you in the directions you need to go. So it was a crash course in Silver Age, Pre-Crisis, New 52, Rebirth, the animated series, Superman and Lois. Anything I could do to just like dip their toe in, so they can get a feel of what Superman was all about, and worked out well, because there were moments of inspiration that I didn't even see coming. Like Lois's lavender latte came together completely on Elena's end. She saw an episode of the animated series where Lois's eyes were that deep lavender, and she was inspired and she ran with it. She's an amazing chef, and standing in for Martha, that is, and I really think it shows in the recipes that came out in this book.
Very cool.
So you have Kalex collaborating with Ma Kent. on these recipes. How did you balance the Kryptonian side with Ma Kent side?
Pardon me. If we were from a narrative perspective, all you're thinking is think of it as a scrapbook. So Ma Kent's been doing this, putting these recipes together for years, but to transcribe it, like, I don't see her as the world's greatest typist. There may be a story from the Silver Age where Ma Kent was plugging away at a typewriter. I do not know, but it would make sense that you would need somebody's help to transcribe it, and why not one of the world's, rather the universe's most able-bodied assistants, helpers / androids to help her along with the task. Plus, it helped to have nice little back and forth going, not all the time, but at the very least some of the time, so that she's not just talking to Clark the entire time in the book. So I think it made for some fun comic relief moments, and as you mentioned, it combined the Kryptonian with the Earth part of him. So I think it came together well.
Now, you've woven stories around the recipes from Superman's entire network of heroes and allies. How did you decide which characters to include, and how did you craft Martha's voice when describing each of those relationships?
Only thing you flash back to is my own mother, and how she would probably appreciate the fact that pardon me a sec. She would probably appreciate the fact that her son has friends.
Right.
And so that was a big part of it. And so this was more a case of her weaving her way in and out of these friends, some closer than others, but all part of what make Clark when he puts on the S and the cape. So you just pick the Justice Leaguers that have a nice little who have a connection, or a connection that you might not ordinarily think of, because John Stewart and Superman hanging out and talking makes sense. Depending on your version of Guy, maybe not as much, but with a loving mother with a big heart, the big thing about that is that she will always see the good in all of these people, especially considering they are Clark's friends. So she'll never have a disparaging word, and it's nice to see a different perspective on certain Leaguers, just from the way that Clark describes them to his parents, or the way those parents see Clark interacting with them. So you get a nice little POV that you don't ordinarily get. So and as far as picking them, that's pretty... Sorry about that.
No, go ahead.
As far as picking them, you first.
No, you. I was moving on to the next question. You're You're still answering the previous one. So go ahead.
Gotcha.
My bad.
As far as picking them, like some pick themselves. Like it's obvious we've all read comics, especially DC Comics, for decades, and I'd be remiss if I didn't get a Green Lantern's chili recipe. Green Arrow's chili recipe in here. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's been from pre-crisis, post-crisis, all the way through. It has been mentioned in every iteration of Green Arrow you can think of. So to finally get that down and in print somewhere as the official, quote-unquote, official recipe for that, that just spoke to it. And just in terms of the other stuff, you try and... just like you were writing any other Superman story, you try and find the humanity in most of those things. So Vic's football background means that Cyborg's automatically going to go for the tailgating food, the potato skins, etc., etc. And Chacos, there's no way we could have done a Superman book that included Martian Manhunter without having Chacos in there in some way, shape, or form. So again, some of these just wrote themselves.
Nice.
So the Lex Mix Trail Mix is a fascinating inclusion. Lex Luthor's childhood brain food, with Martha gently steering away from Kalex's darker commentary. How do you balance nostalgia with the reality of Clark and Lex's current relationship through Martha's perspective?
I led with the if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. And at this point, I was adhering to the now that we're back with the part of, well, not now that back in the comics, we're back in the continuity where Lex and Clark knew each other as kids. It helped the narrative greatly, just in terms of there's some subtext there, and if you know, you know. And if you're just a fan of Superman in general and know that Superman is the good guy, Lex is the bad guy, it works on that level too. So that's one of those where I didn't have to do that much work on it because of the near 100-year history those two have as antagonists to one another. Pretty much does most of the heavy lifting on its own, but you let a good woman like Martha say what she has to say why she has to say it, and then keep it moving.
Nice.
I never really thought of Alfred Pennyworth and Ma Kent sitting and having a nice conversation. Although when you think about it, it does make sense. How do you balance the world between Superman and Batman? What would Alfred, contribute to this book, for Ma Kent?
See, that's the one I love the most, and I think that's why we have more than one recipe in there, because again, it's parents. Think of it as a parent of a firefighter talking to a parent of a police officer. There are very few people who can understand what those parents are going through. They know their kids go out every night. They know they risk their lives. But this is a special instance because there's no one in the world aside from those two who can truly understand what it is to worry about a child that's saving lives on this level. So invariably, they are going to talk. They're going to have conversations that invariably drift away from having to talk about how much I'm worried about Clark, how much I'm worried about Bruce, and just finding out about each other, just to normalize things. So the big thing in terms of those two getting together is that it's a shared trauma, it's a shared anxiety that they have found a nice respite in the storm by just sharing recipes back and forth, telling what I served to Clark when he comes in after a beatdown against Darkseid, and what I serve for Master Bruce and Master Tim and Master Damian when they come back from a fight against Killer Croc or Mr. Freeze. So just that's the big thing about this being a cookbook, and what I've learned is the real big hook is that you find comfort in your favorite meal. So if these two people who, like, their stock and trade is being a caregiver, being someone who looks after two of the most important heroes on the planet, and can't turn that off. The love language is always going to be food, so there's no way those two don't have lengthy conversations about that, or at least did. God rest his soul, comic Alfred Pennyworth.
The narrative includes so many touching details, like Clark's X-ray vision, finding the lost cornbread recipe card. How do you mine Superman's history for those intimate, relatable moments? Like, how much extensive research did you do, or does it come naturally to you from your own fan, knowledge?
Little from column A, little from column B. I did some digging, just to especially Silver Age stuff. The that era was chock full of Superman when he was a boy, running around, X-ray vision. Well, back in the days when pre-burn, he had like full powers and was a holy terror around the farmhouse. So I mined a lot of that, but by and large, it gave me a snapshot, and then I just when I got some recipes and didn't have a one-to-one corollary in the comics, I would just pull from like my overall memories of everything, like whatchamacallit. I'm sure the burn years come to mind. You know, when remember when Pa really initially found out during the Man of Steel miniseries that Clark pretty much was invulnerable when he fell in front of a wheat thresher, and he ran over to see his boy, and his clothes were torn up, but the kid was fine. So you just flash back to stuff like that. That sets the mood. That sets the general feel for what that Smallville was like, and then you go from there. And in some cases, you get lucky, and there are books like Superman Birthright, Superman and Man for All Seasons. So you mine stuff like that as well, just to get bits and pieces about the young Clark experience, and you just build on it and go from there.
Cool.
You write about Plurb, something Clark apparently missed from space. How did you craft Martha's reaction to learning about alien cuisine for her son?
Plurb.
Yeah. That is a melding, as in, I also gave Elena episode of Justice League Unlimited, Comfort and Joy, the Christmas episode. So I gave her that, and she became fixated on Plurb. There was no way she was not going to make a Plurb recipe, and so it was left for me from there to build around it. So yeah, I painted myself into that corner, but no, it just presented an opportunity to flash back to one of my favorite completely out there eras, the Superman Exile run. There is no part of me that will ever get over the bearded Clark with the Superman with a cape as a sash and going full barbarian. So I just merged the two. Made sense. It worked. And whatchamacallit. And, you know, an Earth approximation of Plurb is now our gift to the world.
Very nice. Very nice.
So, what do you hope Superman fans get out of this? What are you hoping that they, read this, and what do they take out of this?
Well, for any Superman fan, for you guys especially, and for anyone viewing right now, I just hope they take Superman was my first hero. Superman will always be my favorite hero. I just hope that they see whatever era they picked up Superman for the first time. They see a little bit themselves, and see it a little bit themselves. It harkens back to that time with some of these recipes and some of the stories that Martha's talking about. If you came in later and John Kent and this current era are your thing, there's a little something for you. If you were a fan of the Super Friends and you just want to linger in the section where Ma's talking about the Flash and Green Arrow and Wonder Woman and Batman, there's something there for you there. Bottom line, with almost 100 years of Superman, I just wanted to make sure that there was a little something for everyone. The layman can come in, and there is no part where it's too deep in the weeds. Yet at the same time, if you're a fan of like the Triangle era, if you're a fan of the Silver Age, if you're a fan of Rebirth, there's something about the narrative that just speaks to you. Just harkens back to whatever the first comic or the first TV show or the first movie you saw with Superman just harkens back to that and takes you back to that feeling. Because again, working in comics for 16 years, you always want someone's first comic to be their, rather to stay with them, to keep them aboard and get them interested in going either forward or backwards with the narrative and figuring out all the things there are to love about the character. So hopefully, for Superman fans, this is nice and nostalgic. For new fans, this hopefully will they will come for the food. They will stay for Superman.
Nice. Quick questions from the fans watching the show. John Patrick Van Pelt, has type 1 diabetes. Wondering if there are any recipes that are friendly for diabetics. Probably not from Martha's perspective.
From Martha's perspective, I can tell you we have many a vegan alternative. Yes, there is many a sugar-free. It's something we keep in mind whenever we put these cookbooks together. This one being my second. We have alternatives just in terms of sugar substitutes and the like, because we're trying to be as inclusive as humanly possible. With all these recipes, we want everyone to enjoy, and there are variations you can spin on most of these recipes that will get you through, regardless of your nutritional inclination, your dietary restrictions, that sort of thing. So all that's kept in mind as we put these recipes together.
Very nice. Now, Justin Suarez asks, is it just food, or are there drinks, cocktails, mocktails, anything like that included?
There are mocktails, there are shakes, there are the aforementioned Lois Lane latte is a big one in here. So we do not. This is the entire full course. It's breakfast, it's dinner, it's dessert, it's shakes, it's cuppies, cookies, it's cupcakes. It's the whole gamut.
It's a mouthful.
It's the whole gamut of the eating experience.
Excellent. One final question. If you had to sit down with Martha Kent, or if you could sit down with Martha Kent herself for a meal, what would she cook you, or what would you want to ask her?
In terms of what she would cook me, again, there's an Americana feel to this, so it would be down home, and I wouldn't push away from any of the mashed potatoes, the fried chicken, the the gravy, the what have you. And in terms of asking her, what I'd ask her, what was it like to raise such an amazing kid? It starts and ends there. Like what kind of I went in on my end, but if I were actually sitting across from Martha, just what were the ups and downs from raising a kid that could fly across the county and back in like 3 seconds flat, and you couldn't hide anything from, because he can see around corners in town and through walls. So it would be a fun conversation. That would be my starting point, and then we just go from there. I think Martha Kent would have a lot of stories to share.
I'm sure she would. And Jermaine, finally, want to just thank you so much for coming in tonight to talk to us about Superman, the official cookbook, folks. It's out there to pre-order now. I think it goes on sale tomorrow.
Tomorrow, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. So it's available now. Order it now. You'll get it pretty much straight away. It is a fantastic read. It's fun. It's enjoyable. It's useful. There are some great recipes in there, and there are ones like you would hope to be in there. Like you said, the Green Arrow chili recipe. There's beef bourguignon. There's so many other great things.
Could not forget that.
Yes, exactly. So thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us tonight. We hope it's a great success. I really enjoy it. I'm going to be trying out some of the recipes. Not that I'm a great cook, but I'm sure it's easy to use. So thank you so much for finally being able to join us tonight. We really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us here on Superman Homepage Live.
Much appreciated. You take care.
Thanks, Jermaine. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jermaine. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
That was Jermaine chatting with us on Superman Homepage Live about Superman, the official cookbook. That was a fun chat.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we have 5 minutes to quickly do some of our regular scheduled sections. So let's jump into the fan favorite question. And I should state that if you do want to purchase Superman the Official Cookbook, we will put the link in the show notes below this video. All right, let's jump in. Last week's question was, what is your favorite Superman movie poster released to date? And we had a couple of people respond. Who was first up, Michael?
Jamie S. Klingensmith. I knew I was going to trip over that. My favorite Superman poster is the new one that honors the late Christopher Reeve 78. He's my hero, and I can't wait to buy that poster. I just love everything Superman.
Thank you, Jamie.
And David Rustage wrote, I think this poster conveys a sense of wonder due to the spectacular view of the Earth, as well as heightening my anticipation that this film could be the one we've been waiting for to see for years. I also like this one for IMAX, but I don't know if it's an official poster. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it lives up to the expectations. Not too long to wait.
Yeah, I think that second one is a fan-made one, but thank you, David. Lorenzo Hot Take Valdez wrote, I would hold up the character posters in general as the best posters we've gotten for James Gunn's Superman, as I love the look of the red, yellow, and blue background behind each of the different characters. I actually think that the red, yellow, and blue background works even better for the characters other than Superman who aren't already wearing red, yellow, and blue costumes themselves, particularly Lex and Hawkgirl, if I were to specify a couple of them. Thank you, Lorenzo.
J.P. Rocha wrote, my favorite Superman movie poster so far is the original Look Up poster. It is simple, but effective.
Thank you, JP.
Plain Pulling Tom wrote, my favorite poster is the rock version on the theme song with all the colors flying by. Hey, I'm here at my shipyard, and then NNSY, America's #1 shipyard. I got to tell you what I do. I walk around inspecting for fire and flooding hazards on the nuclear carrier we have at NNSY. And if I see someone doing something right by the book and safe, I give them one of my Superman decals I got from Amazon. People love them and put them on their hard hats. It looks like a Superman fan club meeting here on my aircraft carrier. The American flag S is my own sticker design because that is the type of Superman shirt I wear in the plane pulling contest, so I took it as my symbol. Have a great pre-Superman movie day, and I can't wait to put out my Superman flag after the 4th of July.
Thank you, Plain Pulling Tom. I love the fact that he puts out Superman stickers to people. Mike Mackey wrote, my favourite Superman 2025 poster is this one because it captures the spirit of Kal-El in a way that connects the past and future. There's something instantly familiar about it, like the stance, the hopeful gaze into the sky, the classic red and blue suit. It calls back to Christopher Reeve's Superman from 1978, while carrying that same sense of wonder and idealism, like he's more than just a superhero, a symbol of hope. Also the updated suit, the modern lighting, and the New Kingdom Come S emblem, which is a fresh start. Not a copy of the old, but a continuation of its heart. It also reminds me of the Superman Returns, honouring the legacy of Reeves' Superman. This poster isn't just a nod to the past, it's a bold step forward. It doesn't just tease the movie, but reignites what Superman stands for. It's not just nostalgia, it's a statement. Well, thank you very much to all those people who wrote in to give us the fan favourite response to that question. Our new question is, what is your favourite new Superman movie t-shirt? There are plenty of them out there, plenty of great designs. The email address to respond to is info@supermanhomepage.com. Send in your answers and we'll show those t-shirts and read out your responses when we return to this segment next week. All right, the super secret soundbite we can squeeze in quickly.
Only one thing alive with less than 4 legs can hear this frequency, Superman, and that's you.
Here was the super secret soundbite from last month.
What's the matter, Kent? Too warm for you, huh? Please, come on, chicken. Let me get you.
And that was obviously from Superman 3. No, it was this one. You know what? I'm going to leave the Superman super secret soundbite till next week because I haven't set up the new one for this week. That was the old sound from last month. Like I said, folks, there's a lot going on at the moment. So we'll do the Superman Super Secret Soundbite next month. Forget that. Skip that. Reverse that. We'll do it again next week when we return for another edition of Superman Homepage Live. Well, guys, that wraps up tonight's bumper episode of Superman Homepage Live. Hope you've enjoyed us getting through some of the major news items from this past week, chatting with Jermaine McLaughlin about Superman, the official cookbook. There's plenty more we could have gotten to tonight, including a new Superboy book that is out and published. Look Up in the Sky, the Forgotten Superboy series. The All-Star Superman audio book is now out and available to listen to. So plenty of things happening in the world of Superman. Keep your eye on supermanhomepage.com for all your daily news updates on everything surrounding the Man of Steel. I'm Steve Eunice on behalf of myself, Michael Bailey. Thank you, Michael. Oh, there's Michael over there.
Yeah, I'm over here.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Steve, Michael.
And thank you to our Superman homepage champions, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, Tina Murray, Rick Schutzow, and Jamie Klingensmith. Thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate it. Join us next week, Monday, July 6th, I think it is. Monday, July 6th at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time for another edition of Superman Homepage Live. Hope you'll join us then. As I said, keep your eye on supermanhomepage.com for all your daily news updates on everything surrounding the Man of Steel. I'm Steve Eunice, on behalf of myself, Michael Bailey, Mark Lax. Thanks for watching Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com.